Hello, hello. If we haven't met yet, I am Sachi, practicing CRNA and your go to CRNA school admissions wizard. And today I want to talk to you about your first step if you are thinking about applying to CRNA school. And that is, drumroll please, requesting your transcripts. Now, I know this is not the most exciting thing to do. However, it is a key first step. Why? You might be thinking, okay, well, first of all, you need to calculate your GPA. And if you're like most people, it's been a while since you've dusted the cobwebs off your good old trusty resume. And you may or may not remember your GPA. And if you do remember your GPA, it's likely going to be your overall GPA or your nursing GPA. And surprise, surprise, what you might find out as you're starting to research schools is that CRN programs are a little unique. They do not just look at your cumulative GPA or your nursing GPA. Some programs are going to ask for your GPA of your last 60 credits. And I refer to this as like just last 60, but they're going to look at your last 60. They're going to look at possibly even your science GPA. And now that's not your nursing GPA. Your science GPA is going to be your core science classes. And that's going to be your physiology, anatomy, your microbiology, your organic chemistry, your general chemistry. And they're going to want to know your GPA for that as well. So if you do not have your transcripts, you might get stuck really quickly when you're starting your school search and get hung up on, oh, shoot, well, I don't know my science GPA. Can I even apply to this school? So that would be my first recommendation is to go ahead and request those unofficial transcripts from every school that you've ever taken a class from, because you are going to need to know what you got in all those classes, even if it's just like a one-off class, because some programs are going to ask for transcripts from every single school. Now, if you already know that you're going to apply to a school that only looks at, say, your nursing GPA, totally fine. If you're not branching out, then that's fine. But, really we recommend that you apply to at least 5 schools. Programs are really competitive nowadays, and schools know you're applying to a ton of different programs. They know that. Now, should you tell them that? Not necessarily, but at the end of the day, if you want to get into CRNA school, your chances are going to be highest if you can apply to as many schools as you really emotionally and physically can, pending they're a good fit for you. Okay. So the first thing I really want you to do is go ahead and request your transcripts. And I will link a GPA calculator for you, but there are a lot of free calculators online. If you just Google free GPA calculator, you will just put in the amount of credits that program or that class was, and then what you got in it. And you can calculate your science GPA really quickly. You can calculate your last 60 credits really quickly. And this last 60 credits thing, let me explain this a little bit more. Applying to schools who look at your last 60 credits only can be a really strategic move if you are this type of person. If you are the type of nurse who the first 2 years of college, when you're taking your general ed requirements, maybe you didn't buckle down and study, and maybe you got C's. Then when you got into nursing school, you're like, oh no, this is it. Let me get it together. I'm going to study because nursing school is really intense and I do not want to fail out of nursing school. So you got A's when you went to nursing school, or A's and B's. But your overall GPA is not great, 3.2, 3.1, because the first 2 years of your undergraduate experience was, you had a good time. You are not alone. If that's you, if you have a GPA that's less than 3.5, 3.4, you're going to hear me say low GPA. And now 3.5 is not like low. I'm not saying you have a low GPA, but what I'm saying is the average GPA for students getting accepted into the programs are 3.6 and even higher. So if you have less than a 3.5, if you have 3.2, really consider applying to schools that look at those last 60 credits, because those are going to be your core science classes in there. Those are going to be your nursing classes. Schools are really looking at that because they understand that that is where the bulk of those core heavy physiology classes lived in those last 60 credits. So schools are already kind of thinking ahead. They're like, yeah. Like we get a lot of people who didn't really focus the first 2 years of their nursing program. So they're like, okay, last 60 credits, we got you. But not all schools are like that. So if you are on the lower end GPA side, go ahead and look for schools that are those last 60 credit requirements for your application. So if you're wondering, okay, well, how do I find said programs with the last 60 credits? Don't worry, I got you. We are making a CRNA school database that will have every single CRNA program, which, oh my gosh, there is over 120, I think there's 125, 126 programs. And you can find a list on the Council of Accreditation, CRNA.org. It's CRNA.org. And you can go there, you can find a list of all the schools, or you can also use our database because we have a ton of information in there. You're gonna be able to filter by state, of course, program cost. You're also going to be able to filter by requirements. So, like, do you have to have organic chemistry as a prerequisite? Nope. Okay, perfect. I'm applying to those schools. Do you have to have research as a prerequisite? Nope. Okay, great. I'm applying to that school. So you can use those filters. It's going to be really cool. I am super excited. Anyway, I digress. So requesting your transcripts is going to give you a head start on creating a roadmap for yourself. Okay, so let's think about this for a second. If you need to retake a science class, if you got less than a B in any of those core science classes, anatomy, physiology, statistics. I know statistics isn't really a core science class, but CRNA schools are putting an emphasis on statistics because you are going to be doing a big research project as a part of your DNP curriculum. So I threw statistics in there. But if you got less than a B in any of those core science classes, chemistry, organic chemistry, biology, microbiology, physiology, anatomy, definitely go ahead and consider retaking that science class. And now, even one up on that, if your GPA is on the 3.1, 3.2 side, I would recommend that you also consider taking a graduate level course. Why? Okay, so let's back up and think like a school first. If I was an admissions counselor, if I was a CRNA school faculty member, and I was super proud of our school's 100% first time certification exam pass rate, right? And, thinking from that perspective, and I'm proud of that. And I want students in my program who are going to succeed, who are going to make us look good, and who are going to fit in with the program and pass their classes and do well, right? If that was me and I got an application that was like, oh, 3.2, I would think to myself, can this person handle graduate level classes? Can this person take a science class in a doctorate program and do well with a 3.2 GPA and who got B's, B minuses, C pluses in their science classes? That would give me pause, and that would make me have to sit and really look at your entire application. So to combat that mindset and to combat that thinking, what I recommend is that you go ahead and take a graduate level science class. Show the admissions committee, and that when you go to do your transcript review or when you go to do your interview, you're like, I am so committed to become a CRNA. I not only retook the science class, but I took a graduate level science class and I did well in that science class. So if you request your transcripts early, you can start making a plan. You can research online, different online science classes in your area. Maybe your hospital helps pay for education if you are gonna, go to school. A lot of hospitals have education money for those types of things if you're gonna take a class at a university. So that gives you time to figure that out, to get your ducks in a row, to find a science class that you're gonna do well in, to figure out which class you're gonna take. Because if you're gonna take a science class over again, it might as well check the box for prerequisites for other schools that you're eyeing. If you are debating on taking organic chemistry per se, right? Or versus biochemistry or organic chemistry versus advanced pathophysiology again, right? If you are looking at your list of schools and you're saying, hey, if I take organic chemistry, it now makes me eligible to apply to these 3 other schools that I was considering applying to. I'm going to go ahead and take that one over the advanced pathophysiology course that I was considering taking, but only got me into this one other school that I really didn't necessarily want to go to, but I was considering it. So it gives you time to hash out all those details in your brain and think and really come up with a strategy. Also, keep in mind, if you are not a good online science class taker, which I'm raising my hand here, I am not great at online science classes. For me, I would want to take an in-person science class because I want to get an A in this graduate level science class that I'm taking because I really want to get into science school, right? That the timing is going to have to work out on that. If you don't request your transcripts ahead of time and start making this plan, you might miss the semester starting for an in-person graduate class. class. And a lot of online science classes are rolling, so don't stress out. You can still take classes, but some classes are going to be harder than others. So word of mouth, you might start talking to other people who have taken these science classes and realize, oh, I really don't want to take this online science class from this program because it's super hard and it like barely anybody gets an A. Or like, hey, I'm gonna wait like another 6 weeks to take this one because it's a little bit easier and I think I can score an A- in this because a friend of mine took it and I want to take that one. So it gives you time to hash out all those details. There's a lot that goes into getting into CRNA school, but my biggest tip for you is to plan ahead and start early. So another tool that we have for you that I forgot to mention was we have a science class vault. So I will also link that for you. You can download that, that's free. And also recently I got a couple of more classes from some people who messaged me and they're like, "Oh yeah, add this to the list. I took these classes. They were great. It was good. It was easier. I got it." So I'm going to add that to the list as well, but I will link Science Class Vault for you to save you a ton of time googling a bunch of science classes to retake. These are all classes that previous CRNA school applicants have taken. My caveat and my tidbit for you is if you are going to retake any of these science classes for a particular program, double check those requirements for your program because sometimes schools want these science classes to be from a 4-year institution. So if you're thinking about taking a class at like a 2-year community college, it might not fit that requirement. So just triple check the schools that you are applying to. And also there are a few that might ask for a graduate level class, so just keep your eye out for that. Always, as always, please feel free to email the program yourself and ask, hey, is this class going to be accepted as a biochemistry prerequisite? Because the last thing you want to do is take this class and have it not check that box. All right, so that is all I have for you today. Your first step when you are trying to figure out if you want to apply to CRNA school is to request your transcripts. All right, I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.